Today I'm going to talk about the long-standing theory that might have kind of been confirmed or at least hinted by an old as well as by the new promotional photos of Daenerys Targaryen. As we can see in a bunch of promotional photos, teasers, as well as in the official trailer itself, Daenerys is wearing an outfit that contains dragon motifs and matches with colors of her house, which is not surprising. Every lord, king or queen wears an outfit that contains a symbol of his or her house sigil, meaning that there is nothing surprising that Daenerys will finally wear colors and motifs on her dresses that matches with her own house. As we can see in a few promotional photos, Daenerys will also wear a three-headed dragon pin, which at first doesn't hint, not to mention confirm any theory. But on the other hand, this same pin that seems just as every other regular pin might hint that the popular three-headed dragon theory might come true in the upcoming seasons. Before I go any further, let me just highlight this. Unlike most of other TV shows, Game of Thrones is a show that has many times foreshadowed main events far in advance. That's mostly because showrunners David Benioff and Dan Weiss have a show based on a book series, and show is not written on a season-by-season basis. Let me just put it this way. By the time they started writing the first episode of the very first season, they already knew about all main events and deaths that will happen in the upcoming seasons, so they decided to foreshadow most of them, which is one of plenty reasons this show is one of, if not the best TV show ever produced. Let me give you a few examples. Ned Stark's death was foreshadowed in the very first episode of the series. As we all know, Ned Stark, accompanied with Jon, Robb, Theon, Bran and a few other men, came upon a dead direwolf. A few moments later, we found out that this direwolf was killed by a stag, which actually foreshadowed Robert Baratheon, a stag, getting Ned the wolf killed by inviting him to King's Landing, while 6 pups that were left behind upon the direwolf's death represents Ned's 6 children. Then we also have Aemon, or more accurately producers, foreshadowing Jon's real parentage. Aemon did not make claim or any suggestion that he thinks Jon might be more than a bastard, but he did give a huge hint in season 5. While having a conversation with Sam about Daenerys, he said, "A Targaryen alone in the world is a terrible thing." The camera cuts back to Sam listening, and as soon as Aemon finishes his sentence, Jon walks in. At a time, most of us didn't even notice this detail, while some thought it's just coincidence, only to find out in the season 6 finale that Jon Snow is in effect a Targaryen. In addition, Jon's parentage had been hinted more than once. In season 5, Jon Snow was elected Lord Commander while Stannis and his wife were staying at Castle Black. At one point, Sally said to Stannis that Jon is only a bastard by some tavern woman that was promiscuous, on which Stannis replied with, "Perhaps, but that wasn't Ned Stark's way," pointing out that Ned Stark was too honorable to do such thing. Let me give you one more example, which is Littlefinger foreshadowing Tywin Lannister's death. In the 8th episode of the 4th season, Littlefinger had a conversation with Robin, who was afraid of leaving home following his mother's death. Robin thinks it's safer for him to stay inside, but Littlefinger comforted him by saying that people can die anywhere. Littlefinger said, "People die at their dinner tables, people die in their beds, they die squatting over their chamber pots." And few episodes later, not only that Shae was killed on her bed, but Tywin Lannister was murdered while squatting over his chamber pots. With this being said, Daenerys' pin might still be nothing more than a regular pin, but taking into account all previous hints that foreshadowed major events, deaths and much more, this on first sight regular pin might have much bigger importance, might be a clue that the three-headed dragon theory will come true. So yeah, as I've been saying, this three-headed dragon pin, beside being a regular pin that represents Targaryen's sigil, might also foreshadow that beside Daenerys riding dragon, there will be 2 more dragon riders that will ride Rhaegal and Viserion. Let me introduce you with a theory that this three-headed dragon pin might be foreshadowing. So basically, according to this theory, Rhaegar Targaryen's statement in Daenerys' vision, "The dragon has 3 heads," means that each of Daenerys' 3 dragons will have their own riders. For all of you that are not caught up with the books and are probably wondering when did Rhaegar say this, let me explain it to you in a few sentences. Daenerys saw visions in the House of the Undying in both in the books and on the show, but her visions are way different. In the books, Daenerys saw no vision of Drogo and her son, but she saw many other visions, of which one was a vision of her brother Rhaegar saying, "The dragon has 3 heads." Now, if the three-headed dragon pin truly foreshadowed this prophecy coming true, which in my opinion definitely does, as I expect to see each dragon having its own rider, let's see who might make up three-headed dragon prophecy, who 3 dragon riders might be. The first one is obvious. Daenerys has an unbreakable bond and connection with Drogon, who is named after Daenerys' late husband called Drogo and is the largest one. Now let's see who might be the second rider and which dragon would that person ride. After the season 6 finale and huge revelation of Jon Snow's true parentage, Jon is not a bastard but rather a son of Lyanna Stark and Rhaegar Targaryen, also known as the Last Dragon. It's pretty easy to assume that Jon is the second rider. Jon Snow will most likely ride Rhaegal, the dragon named after his father, but there's still the third rider that is missing and is required to fulfill the theory of the 3 dragon riders, but who that person might be. It's important to firstly highlight that dragons cannot be truly tamed but can be bonded with and trained. Probably the first person that you have on your mind is Tyrion Lannister, as he already managed to earn their trust and unshackle them, which would also fulfill his story of how he wanted a dragon for his name day, only to be disappointed by loud laughter from his family. But will he really be the one to ride Viserion? Most probably not. Tyrion Lannister claiming that dragons are intelligent much more than most people and will quickly recognize friend from foe, in my opinion the best explanation and the only reason dragons did not kill Tyrion. Dragons realize that he's a friend and not an enemy, meaning that even though Tyrion did manage to earn their trust, he most likely will not be the one to ride the third dragon. So beside people with Targaryen blood beside Dany and Jon, there is still one more person required in order to fulfill the 3-headed dragon prophecy, but which person is it? Well, I believe in leaked plot that states that the Night King will kill Viserion and reanimate him as his own undead dragon and will eventually ride him once he decides to attack the Wall and the 7 Kingdoms. I know that there are most certainly a lot of you that don't believe in it, but upon Jon Snow's mission beyond the Wall being confirmed by a lot of leaked photos as well as by the official trailer itself, same mission that will apparently result with the deaths of a few main characters and with the death of Viserion, it does seem pretty convincing that the Night King will be the third dragon rider. If you would like to know more details about Jon Snow's mission beyond the Wall, which from a theory quickly became a confirmed event of the upcoming season, while the death and resurrection of Viserion is still questionable, feel free to check out my previous videos. Additionally, beside this confirmed mission that will most likely result with the death and reanimation of Viserion, which would make the Night King the third dragon rider, it would also fulfill the 3-headed dragon theory. While it would be nice to see Daenerys, Jon and Tyrion riding the dragons into battle against the Night King and his undead army, don't you think it kind of seems too obvious to be the truth, at least too obvious for Game of Thrones? However, while I can't tell for sure that Jon Snow and the Night King will ride Daenerys' dragons, I do think that Daenerys' 3-headed dragon pain is foreshadowing the 3-headed dragon theory coming true in the very end of the upcoming season. There will most certainly be 3 dragon riders. While Aegon the Conqueror and his sister wives, who descended from all Valyria, used the last 3 dragons in the world to conquer and unify the 7 kingdoms, in the upcoming season Daenerys will use the last 3 dragons to try to retake the 7 kingdoms as well. However, at some point of the 7th season, Daenerys will realize that the real war is between the living and the dead, and that's the moment in which we will find out who makes up the 3-headed dragon prophecy. While this promotional photo of Daenerys wearing the 3-headed dragon pin might foreshadow the long-standing theory coming true, it also might be nothing else but the regular pin representing House Targaryen. Before I wrap up this video, let me introduce you with new promotional photos for Season 7 released a few days ago. There are a few photos similar to already published ones, just taken from different angle, but there are also a few new ones that are providing us first look at certain characters, such as this of Beric Dondarrion traveling and leading the Brotherhood without banners to the north. We also get to see Davos Seaver just about to leave Winterfell for Dragonstone, which matches with a photo of Jon Snow leaving Winterfell that we saw a few weeks ago. Then we can see a new photo of Tormund giving a speech to Northern Lords, as well as to the Lords from the Vale and to the Knights of the Vale, as we can see Lord Royce in the background. Next photo is the most interesting one and takes place on Dragonstone. As we can see, Daenerys, Tyrion and Grey Worm are looking pretty surprised and shocked at the same time, and while it's currently unknown what caused their reaction, wouldn't it be amazing if they are actually looking at Jon Snow riding Rhaegal? From leaked photos, we know that Jon Snow will meet Daenerys at Dragonstone and will stay over there for a few days or weeks, so I think there might be a chance of this taking place. Other photos are, as I already said, similar to the other promotional photos released a few weeks ago, while tomorrow I'll publish a video regarding the new released promotional photos. And as always,